Thank you for joining us. We are in studio with two main guests tonight. We are talking about sustainable, inclusive business, and I'm joined by Karin Boomsma. I hope I've pronounced your name correctly, and Njehia. Karin is a project coordinator of Sustainable Inclusive Business, the Knowledge Center based in Nairobi. Her mission is to help Kenyan businesses look beyond profit to the basic but often ignored areas of inclusivity and sustainability. And Njehia, she's a leisure travel manager at Uniglobe, Let's Go Travel, and she's going to speak to us on how they are incorporating sustainability and inclusiveness in the tourism industry to transform the society. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, maybe you can start by what position does Kenya rank when it comes to sustainable, inclusive business?
Yes, there are great examples already. But there's still a lot of work to do, so that's why we are within the KBC Foundation working to raise awareness and to support businesses to become more sustainable and inclusive.
Okay, is sustainable inclusive business only for the private sector, or does the government also have to play a part in it?
They definitely play a part in it. Because you need the government to make a lot of things happen as well, and you have to work together. For instance, if you want to become more sustainable and inclusive in terms of health access, you need the government.
Okay,
yes.
And maybe it can come to you. How are you incorporating sustainable business in the tourism industry?
I think it goes beyond just the tourism industry to begin with, because sustainability is just, if you define what sustainability is, it's the ability to sustain something, to maintain it for future. So on the basis of tourism deals with people and the environment. So without the people and the environment, then you really don't have anything to promote.
Okay. So how are you using this model to sustain tourism?
So for us, we've used different channels on how we're doing it, and it starts from simple things as our practices in the office to practices of the suppliers that we deal with, suppliers meaning people like the hotels, the airlines, so the whole aspect basically that comprises of tourism.
Okay, so does inclusivity and sustainability make a company become more profitable? Or what does it make a company be?
It makes a company more future-proof.
Okay.
And therefore also you will sustain your profits. That's the whole idea. But it is sustainability and inclusiveness. Any company can look at that. It's basically, it means being responsible for what the impact is of your business. So within your business, taking care of your human capital, but also just outside your business and going throughout the value chain up to the end of like where the consumer gets the product or the service.
Okay. So it's all about having an impact. Sorry for cutting you short. It's all about having an impact on improving the people's lives, or
people and planet.
People and planet. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
And in fact, just to add on what she's saying, you asked, is it profitable?
Yes.
In the long term, it will be, because if you have a future-proof business, it means it will go on. So there's no lifespan where you'll say it will come to an end. And that's basically what we want. And for anybody starting a business, you want a lifespan. You want a lifeline to say that this is how far it will go. You don't want to say, I'll be there for 2 years and that's it. So that's why it's important that you have you've included the whole sustainable aspect to it. And I think people just go and blow it out of proportion because it looks like it's such a big word, so people will think it's something very big. But it's the small things. Yeah.
Okay.
I think Karin will agree with me. It goes from the water that you're saving to the paper that you're using to now the communities that you're dealing with in my case or in any business, because for any business to transact, you must be dealing with different communities.
Yeah, true. And the good news about that is that there are a lot of quick wins to make. So if you reduce on energy, you save costs. So that's a good thing. So that's also a positive impact on your profit.
Okay. The world at the moment is going through a lot of challenges. We have global warming, we have poverty, diseases. So how can a business or a small business or a large corporation can leverage on that to maybe sustain their business or create solutions?
Exactly. There are many ways to do it. But for instance, you can come up with a solution for a problem. And if that's a business solution, and if you take them and you engage with the multi-stakeholders, so you include also the public sector, for instance, you come up probably with a very sustainable solution and therefore a very sustainable business. So we need a solution, but you cannot only bring a solution for the problem. You need to look at the whole ecosystem around it. You can come up with a solution for water purifying, but you also need to make sure that it will be accessible for the people who need it.
Okay, so what solutions are you deploying in the tourism industry, especially to attract the domestic tourism?
So I think for us to attract not just the domestic tourism, but every aspect of tourism. Like I said, it starts with the practices in our office. So for us, what we're doing right now is we're trying to lobby in our own small capacity in our office, like to have the hotels do, we've created what we call a sustainability questionnaire. So it's something simple, just to make sure that the checks are there. I mean, do you have a waste management system? So you say yes. When we come for fun trips, we want to see the waste management system. And the good thing is we're having many tour and travel operators joining it, because for us is to create a better product. Kenya is already a great product. We are one of the best places in the world to see or to experience tourism, rather, if I was to put it that way. But if we were to strengthen it through sustainability, then we have an even bigger lifeline. Yeah.
So how, if the travel advisories were issued, let's say like a couple of years ago, we have seen it affect the tourism industry negatively, yeah? If sustainability and inclusiveness was effective, would we have experienced the negative impact that we had 2-3 years ago?
Okay, one is we need to understand that tourism deals with things that are beyond our capacity, to put it that way. I'll call it things, yeah? Because there's security, there's this, there's that. But if you position yourself as a sustainable country in the world, make yourself a leader, then obviously you will be able to fight the challenges. Because there'll always be any challenges in any sort of business. Tourism, or like Karin would say, different places. But it's how you position yourself now that determines the next 10, 20, 30 years.
Okay.
And that's why we want to work together. Because you need each other to create a force, and then you can speed up that process. If it's only let's go travel to have those criteria in place, then we won't move that fast. I mean, they're amazing, but we like to, as SIB Kenya, we inspire with Let's Go Travel, and at the same time with Let's Go Travel we join forces, we create like a coalition of the willing, and we move forward.
So are you only partnering with the tourism industry, or are you focusing on other businesses as well?
No, we're focusing on other businesses as well, agro, health,
such as
yes, infrastructure, IT and innovation. Innovation is a very important component as well.
Okay, many people believe that inclusivity is all about for philanthropies, that it's only for the big corporates. How true is that?
Yes, that's a great question. Thanks. So let's say we had an old way of CSR, corporate social responsibility. You give a little bit of your profit to an orphanage, but you don't look at what you have, what kind of impact you have as a business. That's the old way of CSR. So, and that we call philanthropy, basically, or charity. Great, but it has nothing to do with responsible business. So the new way of CSR, what we like to promote, is you look at your business, what can you do? As Angela said, you can do little things. You switch off the light, you have a waste management within your office, you take care of your human capital, but you also look throughout the value chain. Who is responsible for what? I buy this product, where is it coming from? And when the consumer gets it, where's the waste going to? So that is the new way of CSR. And if every business, because businesses is an enormous force within this country. I mean, it's a power. It's a really big power. So it's great if we can use that power to become more sustainable.
So sustainable, inclusive business is not corporate social responsibility. They're totally two different things.
No, still they use the same terminology, but it's the new way.
Yeah, sorry to cut you. It's the same thing, but sustainability is on a wider scale. Because CSR means I've put a bit of money and I've helped build a school. Sustainability means you build the school and the school will exist 10 years from now. So it's, the word really is responsibility, because how do you make sure that this thing continues? You've given, like she's saying, it's charity. But will your charity last another 10, 20, 30 years? That's what we want.
And that shift you see as well on governmental level. for different countries, for instance from the Netherlands, that they combine trade and aid. You don't want that separate entities anymore because it is not sustainable.
Okay, so is inclusive business only for large companies who can take risk, or even small businesses? Is it for also for small businesses?
It's for very small businesses because, yeah, again, I mean, inclusiveness is also not only products and services targeting problems in the lower income groups. Inclusive, you can also be inclusive by having a career plan in place. You can also be inclusive by connecting employing the community around your business within your business. So you can be inclusive on many, many ways, and there are huge opportunities to include as many.
Let's say for a small business, which are those huge opportunities that maybe a small business can incorporate in his business? If you can give us an example.
So you can do that within your business. For instance, you take care of your people and you get really engaged employees, your productivity will go up. It's proven. But another thing is, I think there's a huge opportunity for startups and for small businesses to tap into need-based innovations. There's a lot we need, and a lot of times people don't know. So we work, for instance, with Strathmore University, which is, by the way, a great example because they have their own, have their own startups, but they generate their own energy. So they are not taking any energy. There's fully solar energy. But you have startups, and they are not aware of the needs within the business community. So what we also like to do as SIB Kenya is to connect that more. So the academia with the businesses, because there's a bit of a gap in between. And people can come up with the solutions and create businesses around it. And you have benefits as a startup, being small, compared to a corporate and vice versa.
Okay, maybe you can share with us some of the misconceptions that people have about inclusive businesses.
I think the moment you just hear the word sustainable, you go back and say, big word. But I think what people don't understand is we're already practicing this type of kind of lifestyle we're talking about for the sake of future-proofing our future. Yeah. So it's involving people from all levels of your company. So simple things as less plastic cups in your water dispenser. That's sustainable because it means less plastic in the world. So it's not just for big companies, it's for everybody. These are small practices like she's talking about Strathmore and the energy. There are things that you can do even in your house. I mean, you can use light-saving bulbs. That's still sustainable because it means you're using less energy. Yeah.
Okay. So I've had one of these misconceptions is you're selling the inclusiveness is selling to the poor. How true is that?
I tend to differ. It's not.
No, it's one definition is you develop solutions and therefore products or services to target the low income group. But it's on very different levels. If it is a solution to access health, it's great. Also, to create a market, it's also better. I mean, if people you keep things, what goes around comes around, so you create a more healthy business environment. So it's not to benefit from the poor. A lot of times it's the definition is you want to include them in the economic system to come up with solutions which are good. So that's one of the misconceptions, I think.
Okay.
Yes.
In the tourism docket, do you have packages for middle class?
Yes, we do.
Because we've seen now they have the misconception. One of them is that people think it's for the high end.
I think it's our job to start educating the public that tourism is not something for the upper end, but it has always been looked at that way. But I think if we look at the greater world and markets beyond Africa, let me call it that, markets beyond Africa, most of them plan their safaris well in advance. But our norm is that we'll wait for when there's a holiday and we'll be rushing to buy a holiday. But the ways that you can do it, look at it in a sustainable manner, I'll call it that. You can choose to buy your holiday and pay in installments, which we let you do. So that means every person in every different economic budget is able to go on a holiday. Yeah.
Okay, if I were a food processing company, how would I use sustainability and inclusiveness maybe to create a positive impact in the society? Let's say if I'm processing mangoes and I want to export mangoes, and then there's a standard that is required. And then there's a bunch of them, let's say I've exported 90%, 10% is rejected. What do I do with these rejects?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and that's a lot of there's a lot of opportunities. There's this great Mara farming, and they're doing this exactly what you're saying, because the standards to export are really high, and that's another subject actually. But we should have the same standards here and same quality here, because we eat a lesser quality than what we send abroad. But they have, for instance, rejected produce, and it's waste. It's called waste for the farm. They make soup out of it. So they have now soup. They tested it with a Dutch university. It has really great nutritious value. They sell it, and you don't have waste. You have another product actually. So we can be creative.
We're pressed with time. Maybe you can share with us your closing remarks, and what are you guys doing together going forward?
I think for us is to make a clear statement that sustainability is the way forward, both in tourism and in travel. So for us is to work and call out to all the people in the tourism sector to join us and to work with SIB as well. We've got bodies such as Ecotourism Kenya or Sustainable Travel and Tourism Agenda, who are always trying to build up this talk about sustainability in our industry. Because for us to protect, it starts from conservation to all the little things in between, to all the communities that we practice our business in there. So, yeah.
So if I wanted to maybe access you, where do I get you from?
Yes, you can reach us at sibkenya.com. You can look at the website. It's actually a knowledge center online, so you can read a lot already. And what we like to do is, we already reached out to 700 companies where we engage with, but at least with 100, we want to work closely together, like with Let's Go Travel, and we provide roadmaps and tools to see how can I also start being more sustainable and inclusive. And with Let's Go Travel, we are going to speed up in the tourism industry, hopefully. So
thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming to our studios.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
We've been speaking to Karin Boomsma and also Angela, and we've been speaking on sustainable inclusive business. And as they are saying, you need to include sustainable business, that is inclusive business, in your business. Now we move on to mobile